look forward to your suggestions. और साथ में जो हमारे अन्य साथी हैं, the three categories of people, एक है कि जो आपके विचार अपने दे पाएंगे और बहुत से लोग ऐसे हैं जो लिसनिंग मोड में हैं, तो हमारी बातों को सुन पाएंगे और सब्सिक्वेंटली हम उनको एक ईमेल आईडी देंगे जिसके माध्यम से उनके भी जो विचार हैं वो विचार हमारे समक्ष लाए जा सकेंगे। तो जैसा कि मैंने पहले वाले सेशन में कहा था कि हम लोग एक नेशनल डिजिटल लाइब्रेरी फॉर चिल्ड्रन एंड एडोलेसेंस बनाए जाने के प्रस्ताव पर विचार कर रहे हैं। फिजिकल लाइब्रेरी हमारे पास स्कूलों में है। एक चीज से हम सब लोग वाकिफ हैं और ये हमें थोड़ी सी चिंता भी होती है कि जो पब्लिक लाइब्रेरी का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है वो ओवर द इयर्स ये लुप्त होता जा रहा है। तो पब्लिक लाइब्रेरी जो हमारे प्रमुख शहरों में थी, अब कैसे उसकी भरपाई की जाए, और एक तरीका है जो इसके भरपाई करने का है वो नेशनल डिजिटल लाइब्रेरी है। जो करिकुलम की किताबें हैं वो एनसीईआरटी के दीक्षा प्लेटफॉर्म पर सबके लिए उपलब्ध है, लेकिन जो नॉन करिकुलम की किताबें हैं और देश और विदेश का जो उत्कृष्ट साहित्य है उससे हम अपने बच्चों को कैसे रूबरू कराएं डिजिटल लाइब्रेरी के माध्यम से, ये हमारे लिए चैलेंज का इश्यू है। इस कॉन्फ्रेंस का एक प्रमुख मकसद ये भी है कि जो भी बजट अनाउंसमेंट माननीय वित्त मंत्री के द्वारा किए गए थे उसे हमें ऑपरेशनलाइज करना है, और उसे ऑपरेशनलाइज करने के लिए कौन से ऐसे बिंदु हो सकते हैं जिससे आने वाले दिनों के 4 से 6 महीने के अंदर हम इस नेशनल डिजिटल लाइब्रेरी फॉर चिल्ड्रन एंड यूथ को एकदम पूरी तैयारी के साथ अपलोड कर दें ताकि उनको ये सुविधा हम उपलब्ध कराएं। This is going to be a labor of love. I know that. एंड ऑल्सो मैं इस बात से भी वाकिफ हूं कि ऐसी चीजों को कभी भी मूर्त रूप नहीं दिया जा सकता है। तो शुरुआत कर देना है और शुरुआत करके इसको हर दिन कैसे हम इसको बेहतर बनाएं, ज्यादा किताबें इस पर लाएं और ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोग इसको तक इसकी पहुंच हो सके, ज्यादा से ज्यादा बच्चे हमें पढ़ सकें। इसका एक दूसरा एडवांटेज ये है कि ये लाइब्रेरी आपके साथ आपके जेब में, यदि आपके पास मोबाइल फोन है या आपके घर पर 24/7 अवेलेबल रहेगी। तो इस ट्रांसपोर्टेबिलिटी के साथ चीजों को बहुत ही बेहतर बनाया जा सकता है। दूसरी चीज जो हम साथ ही साथ करना चाहते हैं कि हम फिजिकल लाइब्रेरी को भी स्ट्रांग करना चाहते हैं। हमारे सभी विद्यालयों में लाइब्रेरीज हैं, पंचायतों में भी, पंचायत भवनों में भी पंचायत के स्तर पर लाइब्रेरीज बनाई जा रही है। और मैं देख रहा हूं कि जैसे कर्नाटका एक ऐसा राज्य है जहां पर पंचायत के भवनों में बड़े ही उत्कृष्ट पुस्तकालय बनाए जा रहे हैं। तो बेसिक आइडिया है इसकी, इस रीडिंग की हैबिट को कैसे हम इनकलकेट करें। जो मुख्य बिंदु है जिस पर आज हम चर्चा करेंगे, मैं आपके सुलभ संकेत के लिए आपको बताना चाहूंगा। एक है कि हम किस प्रकार से आधारभूत संरचना को विकसित करें। हमारे टारगेट ऑडियंस कौन होंगे, तो हमारे स्कूल गोइंग बच्चे होंगे और वैसे लोग भी होंगे जो स्कूल नहीं भी जाते हैं और वो पढ़ने की इच्छा रखते हैं, तो इस नेशनल डिजिटल लाइब्रेरी से वो जुड़ सकते हैं। हम जब ये नेशनल डिजिटल लाइब्रेरी का प्लेटफॉर्म चालू कर दें तो हम इनमें कौन सी किताबों को लाएं, उसका चयन किस प्रकार से किया जाए, क्योंकि ये बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। तो एक चयन की प्रक्रिया कैसे रहेगी, ये इस बिंदु पर भी हम आपके विचार जानना चाहेंगे। ये जो वेबसाइट और ऐप के माध्यम से हम लोगों तक पहुंचेंगे उसको कैसे ज्यादा से ज्यादा यूजर फ्रेंडली बनाया जा सके, और ये कोई पहली बार नहीं कर रहे हैं। वी आर नॉट ट्राइंग टू री इन्वेंट द व्हील इज ऑलरेडी देयर। तो मैं चाहूंगा कि जो बेस्ट केस प्रैक्टिसेस ऑलरेडी जो एग्जिस्ट कर रहा है हमारे व्यवस्था में, उससे हम सीखते हुए इस नेशनल डिजिटल लाइब्रेरी को हम लॉन्च करें। कई जगह कनेक्टिविटी पुअर हो सकती है, तो उसमें यह सुविधा होनी चाहिए कि कहीं वो ऑनलाइन आए तो वो किताबों को डाउनलोड कर ले और बाद में जब कनेक्टिविटी ना भी रहे तो वो उसको पीडीएफ फॉर्म में या अन्य फॉर्म में उसको पढ़ सके। कम्युनिटी इन्वॉल्वमेंट बहुत ही जरूरी है, तो कैसे हम ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों को अपने आप से जोड़ सके। हमारा देश भाषाओं का देश है और हर राज्य की अपनी प्रमुख भाषा है, तो भाषाई संतुलन, हर भाषा में साहित्य, हर भाषा में साहित्य के साथ साथ जैसे कुछ तमिल में है तो उसको मैं हिंदी ऑडियंस में कैसे दे सकूं, जो हमारे हिंदी लिटरेचर में अच्छी चीजें हैं उसको ट्रांसलेट करके मैं तमिल में कैसे दे सकूं, विदेश के जो उत्कृष्ट लिटरेचर है उनको मैं भारतीय भाषाओं में कैसे अनुवाद कर सकूं। और ये बड़े हम लोग अच्छे समय पर हैं कि आज आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस से इनेबल किए गए हमारे पास कई ऐसे व्यवस्थाएं हैं जिसके माध्यम से हम अनुवाद को आसानी से कर सकते हैं। एक कैटलॉग डेवलप करना पड़ेगा। नेशनल और इंटरनेशनल लाइब्रेरीज के साथ हम किस प्रकार से कोलैबोरेट कर सकते हैं ताकि वो हमारे सिस्टम्स के माध्यम से हमारी किताबों को ले सके और हम उनकी किताबों को भी ले सकें। कॉपीराइट, प्राइवेसी, सिक्योरिटी लॉज, ये सब बड़े इंपॉर्टेंट चीज हैं और इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट से जुड़े हुए हैं, तो हम नहीं चाहेंगे कि किसी भी प्रकार का कोई भी इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स का वायलेशन हो। और फाइनेंसिंग दी प्रोजेक्ट, कैसे हमारी कोशिश रहेगी कि वी शुड गेट द बेस्ट बैंग फॉर मनी, हमारे पैसे जितने भी इस्तेमाल हों लेकिन उससे हमारे सबसे उत्कृष्ट चीजें आए। तो हम सभी एक कॉन्सेप्ट नोट बना करके हम लोगों ने अपने सभी पैनलिस्ट के बीच में सर्कुलेट किया है। मैं उसको दोहराना नहीं चाहता हूं, मैं आशा करता हूं कि आप लोगों ने इसको पढ़ लिया होगा। मैं लास्ट में चूंकि रीडिंग पर बात हो रही है तो मैं अपने आप को रोक नहीं पाया, तो आई थॉट आई विल रीड समथिंग विच फ्रांसिस बेकन हैड रिटन लॉन्ग बैक। रीडिंग मेकeth a full man, conference a ready man, and writing an exact man. And therefore, if a man writes little, he had need to have a great memory. If he confers little, he had need to have a present wit. And if he reads little, he had need to have much cunning to seem to know that he doth not. तो ये जो फ्रांसिस बेकन का जो ऐसे से उनके लिया गया है पढ़ने के बारे में, ये आज भी उतना ही प्रासंगिक है जब ये 300 वर्ष पहले लिखा गया था। तो इस फ्रांसिस बेकन के इस छोटे उद्गार के साथ मैं अपने मॉडरेटर श्री बेहरा जी से अनुरोध करना चाहूंगा कि आप इस कार्यक्रम को और इस डिस्कशन को आगे ले जाएं। धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर। Very good morning and namaskar to all of you. Honorable Secretary School Education and Literacy Sri Sanjay Kumar ji, Chairperson of this breakout group session on National Digital Library for Children and Adolescents. Esteemed Additional Secretary Madam Mrs. Changshan ji and esteemed Joint Secretary Madam Mrs. Archana Saxena ji. Esteemed Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe ji, co-chair of this session. Esteemed Professor Ajay Pratap Singh ji, Director General of National Raja Ram Mohan Rai Library Foundation and National Library Ministry of Culture, Government of India. Distinguished panelists, and with the panelists we have 5 members. Professor Partha P. Chakravarti ji, former Director IIT Kharagpur and also Head of the Computer Science Department, who is also one of the Chief Architect of the National Digital Library at IIT Kharagpur, and Sri Gaurav Singh Nagesh ji from Penguin, who is the CEO of the Penguin organization, Penguin in India, and also Madam Janak Pushpanathan ji, Director from British Council, and also Sri Manoj Kumar ji, who is Scientist TE and in charge Director InflibNet, one of the acceleration center under University Grants Commission, and Madam Silpi Mathur ji, who is the Vice President Amar Chitrakatha, These 5 members are esteemed panelists of today's session, and also we have nearly 16 participants who are from different organizations, including corporates, NGOs, and other organizations. If I name few of them, so it will take further time, but I will be requesting all the honorable members, when your turn will be coming for putting your ideas together, so I will be inviting you, and with a specific question or comment, then we will be talking further. And the background of this particular session has already been chalked out by Honorable Secretary School Education and Literacy, Sri Sanjay Kumar ji. But still I feel, since we have 2 co-chairs, one of them a very eminent educationist, Sri Professor Anil Sahasrabuddhe ji, who is former chairperson of the AICTE. I will request sir to please give your opening remarks. And sir, for the sound management of this particular session, so we will be giving 5 to 7 minutes to the panelists for their presentation extempore with or along with their presentations, and also for the participating members who are discussants in this particular group. There are 16 members, so we'll be giving them 3 to maximum 5 minutes, so that within 2 hours time we will get at least 20 minutes time, 25 minutes time for discussion and consolidation of the ideas. And at last I will be requesting Madam Archana Sarma Avasthi ji, Joint Secretary, to give her comments as well. So with these opening remarks, I am not repeating the words which has already been said and given in the concept note and the presentation also. Once again, I welcome all of you. Sir, we have many audience who are watching us on YouTube, and also we have made this session live on Prime Minister's eVidya TV channels, and also many viewers are there who are watching this session without active participation. And there will be some questions, comments and suggestions on YouTube from the participants. Our team will consolidate that and put it before the panel for further discussion. So with these opening words, and with the permission of the chair and both the co-chairs, I request Professor Anil Sahasrabuddhe ji to please guide us further with his opening remark. So Professor Anil Sahasrabuddhe ji.
Thank you, Dr. Amarendra Beharta ji, who is moderating this session. There is an echo which is coming. Can you stop the echo, please?
Okay.
Yeah, right. So there are 5 panelists who are going to speak after me, and also a co-chair, Dr. Ajay Pratap Singh, and already our Secretary School Education, जो हमारे शिक्षा के सचिव संजय कुमार जी ने इस वेबिनार ब्रेकआउट सेशन के बारे में बताया है. मैं वो सभी बिंदुओं को दोहराना नहीं चाहूँगा, लेकिन हम सब जानते हैं कि लाइब्रेरी और किताबों का महत्व हमारे शिक्षा क्षेत्र में कितना है. आज सुबह प्रधानमंत्री जी जब अपना संबोधन कर रहे थे, he talked about education and skill, very important segments in the Amrit Kaal. And in this first budget in Amrit Kaal, how these things are taken care of. एक तो हम जानते हैं कि काफी सालों से हमने इसका प्रयास करते हुए जो एनपीटेल हो या बाद में स्वयं का प्रयोग किया, स्वयं प्रभा चैनल आए, दीक्षा, ऐसे सारी उपलब्धियां एक तरफ तो जरूर की थी, लेकिन लाइब्रेरी के लिए भी नेशनल डिजिटल लाइब्रेरी, हमारे एक पैनलिस्ट जो है डॉक्टर पार्था चक्रवर्ती, उन्होंने काफी मेहनत करते हुए इसका प्रयोजन किया हुआ है. उसमें काफी रिसोर्सेस है, अपने सेशन में उसके बारे में वो बताएंगे. लेकिन हमारे बचपन से जब हम लाइब्रेरी स्कूलों में हो, कॉलेजों में देखते थे, वो फिजिकल लाइब्रेरी होती थी और वहाँ कुछ किताबें होती थी और कुछ किताबें वहाँ नहीं मिलती थी. तो हम इंटर लाइब्रेरी लोन के माध्यम से दूसरे लाइब्रेरी से भी किताबों को लाना, ये सब कार्य उस समय पे करते थे. उतना ही नहीं है तो मुझे याद है बचपन में हमको नए किताब खरीदने के लिए इतनी ताकत नहीं है, तो हम रास्ते में जो सेकेंड हैंड बुक्स होते थे उसको भी लेके आते थे. और कई जगहों में जो डोनेट किए हुए लाइब्रेरी की किताबें होती थी वहां जाके करते थे। अभी ब्लॉक लेवल से लेकर गांवों से लेकर शहरों से हमारे यहाँ लाइब्रेरी जरूर है, लेकिन पब्लिक लाइब्रेरी सिस्टम धीरे धीरे कम हो रही है। ये सेक्रेटरी संजय कुमार जी ने भी कहा, और इसको एक और बार बढ़ावा देने के लिए ये पर्टिकुलर सेशन, इस पोस्ट बजट सेशन में नेशनल डिजिटल लाइब्रेरी फॉर चिल्ड्रन एंड एडोलेसेंट्स। अब पुस्तकीय ज्ञान जो करिकुलम में है उसकी किताबें तो उस कॉलेज में स्कूल में मिल जाती है, वो हम खरीद भी लेते हैं, लेकिन हमारा ज्ञान का संवर्धन होने के लिए टू मेक अस नॉट ओनली जस्ट एजुकेशन बट सोशल लिटरेसी, एनवायरमेंटल लिटरेसी, फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी, एंटरप्रेन्योरियल लिटरेसी, सिलेबस के बाहर की किताबों का भी बहुत जरूरत पड़ती है। उतना ही नहीं, हम देखते हैं कि काफी साहित्य में अच्छे जिन्होंने साहित्य लिखा है, ऐसे लोगों को दुनिया भर में नोबेल लॉरेट इन लिटरेचर भी है। हमारे देश में भी साहित्य जो अच्छे लिखते हैं उनके लिए ज्ञानपीठ अवार्ड है, और ये एक भाषा में लिखे हुए व्यक्ति का जो पुस्तक है वो दूसरे भाषाओं के लोगों को मिलता नहीं है। तो इसलिए आज टेक्नोलॉजी के माध्यम से एआई बेस्ड ट्रांसलेशन टूल का इस्तेमाल करते हुए और पुस्तक खरीदने के बजाय ऑनलाइन में यदि वो आपके मोबाइल में, आपके लैपटॉप में, आपके घर में मिल सकता है, तो इससे ज्यादा एम्पावरमेंट और कुछ नहीं हो सकता। और इसलिए टू क्रिएट ए होलिस्टिक ह्यूमन बीइंग, लाइब्रेरी एज ए कम्युनिटी सेंटर टुगेदरनेस के लिए बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। तो पहले जो फिजिकल लाइब्रेरी होती थी उसके जगह में अभी डिजिटल लाइब्रेरी, यानी एक तरफ से नया जमाना जो है उसमें फिजिकल और डिजिटल दोनों एक साथ हो सकते हैं। और जहां जहां ये पहुंचा नहीं है ऐसे जगह में यदि हम कुछ पुस्तकों को डाउनलोड करके वहां एक कंप्यूटर रख के वहां यदि ये सब एक्सेसिबल कर देंगे तो सारी छोटे छोटे गांवों में वहां भी ये हमारा लाइब्रेरी का जो सिलसिला है वो जारी रख सकते हैं। इसलिए नेशनल डिजिटल लाइब्रेरी के लिए बहुत महत्व देते हुए इस बजट में प्रावधान किए गए हैं। और मेरे ख्याल से डिजिटल वर्ल्ड एज ए क्लासरूम, इस कॉन्सेप्ट से ब्रिजिंग द गैप बिटवीन रूरल, अर्बन, ट्राइबल एंड कॉन्वेंट एजुकेटेड, द रीजनल लैंग्वेज एंड द इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज, ये सबको इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटी देने में भी इसका प्रयोग हो सकता है। और देश तरक्की के ऊपर बढ़ रहा है, ऐसे माहौल में ये सेशन बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। इसमें चर्चा करते हुए जो हमको विचार प्राप्त होंगे उसको एक कंसोलिडेटेड रिपोर्ट बनाकर श्री बेहरा जी मंत्रालय को देंगे और मंत्रालय उसके बाद उसको इम्प्लीमेंटेशन करने में सहायता करेंगे। इतने ओपनिंग रिमार्क्स के साथ मैं मेरा वक्तव्य बहुत ब्रीफली समाप्त करना चाहता हूं, क्योंकि हमको आगे 5 पैनलिस्ट और 15 एक्सपर्ट्स को सुनना है और उनके साथ इंटरेक्शन करना है। और बहुत कई विचार जो लोग हमको सुन रहे हैं वो चैट बॉक्स में भी लिखेंगे, उसको भी हमको अवगत करना है। इसलिए मैं मेरे वाणी को विराम देता हूँ। नमस्कार, धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर। नमस्कार, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर फॉर सेटिंग द स्टेज एंड also highlighting some of the national level initiatives and guiding us further that how the national digital library movement can go smoothly with quality inputs. With these words, now I invite Dr. Ajay Pratap Singh ji. He is the Director General Raja Ram Mohan Rai Library Foundation and National Library under Ministry of Culture, Government of India.
धन्यवाद बेहरा जी। इसको जैसा कि माननीय संजय जी ने अपने ओपनिंग रिमार्क्स में कहा कि विलेज लाइब्रेरीज को प्रमोट करना है, उसको सपोर्ट करना है, और साथ में ये भी बताया कि बहुत अच्छे उदाहरण पेश किए गए हैं कर्नाटक स्टेट में। ये वास्तव में एक बहुत ही अच्छा ओपनिंग रिमार्क है जिसके माध्यम से हम एक आधार बेस एक बना सकते हैं कि हमारे देश में ही अलग अलग राज्यों में किस राज्य में ये कार्य पहले से बहुत अच्छा चलता चला आ रहा है। राजा राम मोहन रॉय लाइब्रेरी फाउंडेशन पूरे देश में पब्लिक लाइब्रेरी मूवमेंट को प्रमोट करती है और हम 50 साल से काम कर रहे हैं। इन 50 वर्षों में हमने अलग अलग राज्यों में राज्य सरकारों को और पब्लिक लाइब्रेरीज को सपोर्ट प्रोवाइड किया और कुछ अनुभव अपने अर्जित किए। पिछले कुछ 3 सालों में जब हम पैंडेमिक से गुजर रहे थे तो पब्लिक लाइब्रेरीज ने सबसे ज्यादा सफर किया। हालांकि सफर तो सभी लाइब्रेरीज ने किया, हर तरह की लाइब्रेरीज ने किया, लेकिन पब्लिक लाइब्रेरीज इसमें सबसे ज्यादा प्रभावित क्षेत्र रहे। और उन अनुभवों के आधार पर आज हम नई दिशा में बढ़ने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के बाद इस अमृत काल में कुछ नए बदलाव आ रहे हैं और उन बदलावों में माननीय वित्त मंत्री जी ने विलेज लाइब्रेरीज को, नेशनल डिजिटल लाइब्रेरी को महत्व दिया। ये हमारे लिए बड़े महत्व का विषय है। जब हम पब्लिक लाइब्रेरी की बात करते हैं तो कुछ बिंदुओं पर हमें ध्यान देना चाहिए। अभी सारे पैनलिस्ट यहां उपलब्ध हैं, रेनाउंड पीपल हैं जो कि अपने कुछ इनपुट्स देंगे। थोड़ा सा हम अपने अनुभवों के आधार पर आप लोगों को ये अवगत कराना चाहेंगे कि कुछ बिंदुओं पर हमें ध्यान देना आवश्यक है, जैसे फिजिकल बुक्स, फिजिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और ई रिसोर्सेस। इन सभी का पर्याप्त तालमेल होना आवश्यक है। ये तालमेल विलेज में कैसे नजर आएगा, हमें इस पर विचार करना है। आज के समय में यदि हम छात्रों की, बच्चों की क्षमताओं को समझने की कोशिश करें तो ये बड़ा स्पष्ट सा मामला है कि पुस्तकों के साथ साथ उनको एक अच्छा स्थान चाहिए जहां वो बैठ के, और ये करने के लिए उनको एक अच्छा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर लाइब्रेरी में प्रदान करना जरूरी है। साथ ये भी देखना है, क्योंकि कुछ बात ये भी नजर आई बीच में कि विद्यालयों में भी पब्लिक लाइब्रेरी खोली जा सकती। कुछ राज्य इसमें भी रुचि लेते रहे हैं, लेकिन यदि ऐसा हम सोचते हैं तो वो मॉडल पीछे कितना सफल हुआ इस पहले देखना होगा। अभी माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के लोकसभा क्षेत्र वाराणसी में 457 गांव में विलेज लाइब्रेरी बनाई जा रही हैं। ये कार्य बहुत 2 महीने के अंदर अंदर खत्म हो जाएगा और ये अपने में एक अच्छा उदाहरण होगा जिसमें ग्राम पंचायत व्यवस्था, शिक्षा व्यवस्था और पुस्तकालय, इन सभी के बीच में तालमेल स्थापित करते हुए समाज को अच्छा पुस्तकालय तंत्र दिया जा सकेगा। आप सभी से मेरी अपेक्षा है, निवेदन है कि कृपया इन बिंदुओं को ध्यान में रखते हुए विमर्श करें और उसके बाद में जो भी आउटकम हमारे सारे निकलेंगे उसके आधार पर हम भविष्य की रूपरेखा निर्धारित कर सकेंगे। धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद प्रोफेसर अजय प्रताप सिंह जी, डीजी राजा राममोहन राय लाइब्रेरी फाउंडेशन एंड नेशनल लाइब्रेरी, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कल्चर। Thank you very much for highlighting the initiatives of the ministry and also how it is promoting library use across the country, sharing some of the practices. So with these words, I thank you once again, and now we'll be having the presentation from 5 of our panelists. So to begin with, I will be requesting Professor Partho P. Chakravarti ji, who is former director IIT Kharagpur and also head of the computer science department from IIT Kharagpur, and he has been instrumental in setting up of National Digital Library at IIT Kharagpur. Sir, you are requested to please go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you. I'm sharing my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, yes, visible.
Thank you. So I will briefly talk about the next stage by which we need to take the National Digital Library, and a very important thing is targeting children and adolescents. Just to give you a background, as already mentioned by Behra ji and Anil ji, that there has been a head start. The National Digital Library of India has already been developed and is running. It is a 24/7 umbrella digital library covering KG to PG to post research and for everybody else. Today it has contents of about 9.18 crores, that is about 92 million content, of which 60% is open and free. It is SDG compliant. It has got an open architecture. It has got a unique metadata, and it has got text, audio, video, simulation, animation, and it has been up for about 99.99% time. It is one of the lifelines of the pandemic, and it also serves about 12 or 14 of the NEP's missions. So there are several of the NEP's categories which are already served by the National Digital Library of India. Therefore, we already have, as the Secretary mentioned, collaboration with international organizations. We have a collaboration and integration of material from major institutions of the country, publishers, and various other people. We have all the textbooks from 17 states in about all our languages. The interfaces are there in 10 Indian languages already. Along with the National Digital Library, we have the concept of the NDLI Club, which there are more than 2,000, about 5.5 lakh members of the NDLI Club all across the country in schools, colleges, and other institutions. And this is also a very vibrant group. Therefore, the National Digital Library for Children and Adolescents can build up and work around the lessons learned from NDLI, utilize the NDLI, and build over and above it. My main theme today is talking about AI. AI has brought a dramatic change, and all of us can see that AI has changed everything that we do today. And the speed at which AI is coming up in the education sector, in my original slide that you may have seen, I had not only the National Digital Library and the virtual labs, which is the government-aided stuff, we have various private entrepreneur-driven activities like Philo, which is the largest edtech startup to have got the first highest funding from India and is taking on the world. Alice, which is an AR/VR education technology, and we are all aware of what ChatGPT is up to nowadays. So you will now notice that now AI can generate textbooks not only in one language but multiple languages, and they are generating textbooks which are better than the ordinarily written textbooks, not by the top grade experts. So my focus on request to all of you is that this National Digital Library for Children and Adolescents should be AI enabled. It should have interactive digital library for learning, not just a book download. It should have interactive books, videos, simulations, software, and data. It should have mechanisms for translation. It should have mechanisms to allow synthesis, like we see in ChatGPT, how to synthesize, how to enable creators, how to create animation. When we talk about adolescents, when we talk about language independence, then we need animation. We need a procedure to enable them for discovery. Secondly, as Anilji mentioned, we need various flexible pathways, and AI can do that. Individual pathways, teacher-student interactions, peer-assisted learning. There is the concept of doubt clearing. Today, there are concepts of micro classrooms where students are from 12 students from 12 different states and 2 teachers from another 2 other states, talking and interacting in an on-site mode. And all these technologies are available. Personalization, and most importantly, the Divyangs, people who get left out, so that people can learn. The other is the digital twin laboratories, both for skilling and for learning. Virtual labs today is a sort of interactive laboratory, but it still has got the potential of AI enablement. So having the phygital concept that Anilji just mentioned, that you'll have a physical laboratory somewhere But anybody else from all over the country can operate that physical laboratory from somewhere else. So you will have a combination of a digital simulator and a physical laboratory, so that even if there are very expensive laboratories, you can create 5 of them in the country and everybody can access them through digital mode. So this will integrate skill development, upskilling, reskilling, which the Prime Minister just now mentioned. So integrating education with skilling and AI, personalizing people, targeting who is the best person to interact with this person, etc. Assessment and capability building and qualification generation is an essential part of learning. It is not just learning. So today there is new technology of tutoring via assessment. How people do self-assessment, teacher assessment, group evaluation, and the most important methods of evaluation today are interactive games and competition. So my request to all of you is to allow us to make this National Digital Library for Children AI enabled. We will need data, we will need cognitive integration, we'll need AR, VR integration, and pieces of this are already available in the country, both in academic institutions, industries, and my most important request is to target entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurs will actually, the young entrepreneurs will create and multiply things. So the key challenges are, how do we architect it? How do we build the infrastructure, access and reach? It is easy to access metros, but how are we going to access the villages? How do we do repository development through 3 forms? Why do we only have to depend on books? There are hundreds of teachers. There are hundreds and millions of ways in which, if we want to make a herbarium or a biological set of plants and animals, students and teachers can create photos, integrate it, and AI can complete that whole book by itself. So create, collaborate, contribute. We have to break the language barrier, and then this can be used for cognitive health management. We have to make it free to the student. People have already talked about teacher training, because in this new age, we need new kinds of teachers. We need entrepreneur integration. This is key. And then we need a powerful back-end tool and a stack where people can add on to this system as and when they want, and not a centralized license system. Already it has been mentioned, security, privacy, patenting and intellectual property rights. These are already partially taken care of in the National Digital Library of India, which is running. But there are several new issues which come up now, which we should have to tackle. With this, I make a fervent request that this library should be AI enabled. Let us not start with what is available today, but let us build what will be available in the next 2-3 years very quickly. Thank you very much. This is all I had to say to you, and I hope that we will be able to participate to take this forward.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for elaborating the experience of the National Digital Library, which has already been kick-started from IIT Kharagpur, and also thanks for putting before us the challenge that the AI/ML.
Thank you, sir. My presentation is over.
Yeah. Thank you very much for bringing out various facets of what the digital library should look like in the future, where children and adolescents will be taken care of. I don't know whether Behraji is there or not, but the next speaker is Sri Gaurav Sri Nagesh from Penguin, CEO of India.
Yeah.
May I request him to give his presentation and views on this topic?
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Hi, good morning.
So, thank you.
Am I audible? I can hear an echo.
Yeah, you are audible. Do you have a PowerPoint presentation?
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. Once again, thanks.
No, I don't have a PowerPoint presentation.
And for putting before us the challenge that how to address, as the use of AI and ML is also key for the success. So thank you very much also Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe, chairperson of the co-chair of the session. And I join hand with Dr. Anil Sahasrabudhe to invite Sri Gaurav Sri Nagesh ji from Penguin. He is the CEO of Penguin India. Gaurav ji, please go ahead.
Wonderful. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for having me here. I'm sorry, there's a lot of echo coming through. Yeah, I think this is better. So I don't have a PowerPoint presentation, but I thought I'd just kind of talk through 5 or 6 buckets that we've been thinking about from a national digital library perspective. And of course, the first is content, right? Because that's the business we as Penguin Random House are in. Again, I view this as 2 separate pillars. One is the pillar of education, which is around skill building and the rest of it. And the other is around reference, which is where organizations like ourselves come in. Because the content we create is probably not reflective 100% on education, but definitely it's reflective of supplementary reading that we can bring to the fore. So one of the things we've been thinking about is the kind of materials and books that we could have included in the digital library. I completely agree that AI is the flavor of the future, but I do also believe that it's got to be a step-up process. Probably on the education side, AI can garner a lot more impact very quickly, but I do think on the creative literature side, it's got a lot to do with personalities and the content personalities create. In terms of the digital library as well, what we've seen in our little forays into the world of digital content is governance structure, because it's very important to protect IP, and the speaker earlier had mentioned this as well, and copyright. And the question is, how do we balance out ensuring that the children get great literature, but at the same time, people who've created the IP and copyright, those stakeholders are also protected, right? I think the responsibilities of the stakeholders, as well as governments and the libraries, universities, and other institutions, probably needs to be a little more thought through. I've spoken very briefly about the collection of materials that we should digitize, and probably that will depend on the target audience that we want to hit. So that segmentation will come through as well. Cataloging and indexing materials will be important. We've got a long way to go in terms of doing all of this, but I think it's important because it enables accessibility of content. And of course, access and preservation policies is something which is very critical as well, because in the digital world, we've seen that content leakage is very what's the word I'm looking for? It's just there. It's something that we've got to be careful about. And I see some people smiling, so I think they understand where I'm going with this. And finally, I think the launch and promotion of the library, which somebody had adhered to earlier as well. How do we reach kids that probably don't have access to digital tools? Because one aspect is, of course, digitizing all content. The other is distribution and the platforms thereof. So these are the 7-8 things that we're thinking about, and absolutely very excited to be here to discuss how we as content creators can contribute to this program. Thank you very much. That's it from my side.
Thank you very much, Nagesh ji, Sri Nagesh ji, for again highlighting some of the issues related to AI and the upcoming challenges and how to handle, and many other issues. Once again, thank you very much. The next panelist I will be inviting will be Madam Janaka Pushpanathan ji. She is the director from British Council. So I request Madam Janaka Pushpanathan ji to please go ahead.
Thank you, Beraji, and hello, Anilji, and all the other panelists and the audiences who have joined. Namaste, and thank you for having the British Council on this wonderful panel. As several people have spoken before me and also spoken about artificial intelligence, AI-enabled technologies to create mindful content around libraries, and I particularly liked Gaurav's emphasis on content, and also I think in terms of protecting the content, the IP of the content, and also looking at mindful distribution. But from the British Council's experience, I mean, we are known for our libraries in India. We have 3 physical libraries in Delhi, Chennai, and Kolkata. Chennai is where I'm based out of. So would love for you all to come to our library to sort of also experience what we do in our physical libraries. But we also have a vast digital collection, which is carefully curated content, and not just for young children, but also across the spectrum for young professionals, for researchers. So I think in terms of the quality of the content and the breadth of the content, we do have a fair amount of experience in this mindful curation that Gaurav also alluded to. First of all, I want to congratulate the Government of India to look in its presidency of the G20 year for coming up with such a wonderful initiative of making reading and library books accessible to every school across the country. So many, many congratulations. It's an audacious goal and a huge initiative, and we are happy to be part of this discussion and hopefully, enable some of these policies into practical implementation. I want to just talk about 3 things. In terms of a physical and digital collection, I think one of your concept note also outlined that there will be a physical collection in every school, and there'll be reading spaces, and there'll also be a digital collection. So I just want to share a little bit about the thought process in curating content. While AI and other tools are fantastic to be able to curate the content, I think taking baby steps and not filling up the collection, right, many books and sort of creating this whole pressure on ourselves to be able to then use the content effectively. So I think for us, if for this initiative to succeed, it will be good to take a few steps back and figure out how we want to curate this content, what should be part of this age appropriacy, as well as also, I think in terms of language and accessibility, India being a multilingual country and creating content in the multilingual context and not just resorting to 1 or 2 languages, because there is a huge language diversity in India, and if we want the libraries to be accessible, I think this should be taken into account. I'm sure you're already thinking of this. Again, in terms of curation of content, rather than a body sitting above creating content and then giving it off to the students, it'll be really good to have some consultative process. What do children actually want to read? What do we want them to, get exposed to? So I think a consultative process in terms of content curation would be really good as well. Also, in terms of sustained interest. We don't want to have a vast collection and then, be stuck with it. But then can we have a mechanism to replenish content, to be able to weed out old stuff, to put in new stuff, which is packed with, not just stories and fiction, but also non-fiction. There's a huge collection in the UK which is aimed at creating non-fiction scientific reading for young children. There's also now this whole accent on climate and green chemistry, which I think children are big ambassadors, as we see with Greta Thunberg and other people. So I think having a vast and diverse selection of content and age appropriacy is probably something that we should look at in terms of creating digital resources. And again, I think one of the things that the British Council and even the British Library does very well is creating an engagement strategy around the content. Because if you just have books and then expect children to go and pick it up and read, then it may not work very well. So having a set of engagement activities, maybe reading clubs, also having, so the British Council has a global program called the Reading Challenge, so we could help curate some of that as well. So I think having exciting engagement activities built around to scaffold the children to be able to provide scaffolding for children to be able to access this content, I think would be really effective as well. We are delighted and proud to also share that we already have an existing partnership with NDLI, where some of our content is already there in the National Digital Library. We are happy to build on that and also have further discussions with this group as well as others on what the British Library can do, because the British Library is one of the oldest in the world and has terrific experience of archiving and looking at building digital repositories as well. So we're happy to look at that. Then from the British Council Library, both physical and digital, we already have a standard operating procedure, and we've created a wealth of content around content management, standardization, and processes. We are happy to sort of share all of that with you if you think that that'll be a good starting point in order to be able to put this whole digital library concept into operationalization mode. So we're happy to do that as well. And somebody spoke about teacher training and training to use resources. I think it's such an important point, because you can create the best resources and you can have all of that there, but finally if the teacher and the people in the school are not really trained and provided and equipped with the right set of skills to be able to access this and also make it accessible to students, then I think that's going to be a risk. So I completely agree that teacher training, familiarization, also in terms of creating modules for teachers which they can access on their own, in providing self-access to be able to disseminate this content effectively to children and be participative in the reading process and not just have a library period. When I studied, I know we had a library period. It was amazing we would watch films, we would discuss a story, we would look at book clubs, and I think something like that also would be really amazing if children can have access to reading clubs in their own schools, because you're also thinking of reading spaces. And of course, I think the obvious one is collaboration with libraries across the piece, not just with British Council or British Library, but across the piece. There are so many experts here and panelists here. So I think all of us would be very keen to collaborate and contribute to the thinking behind the library. One of the things that we do, and I would just want to end with this last point, one of the things that we do is we do have book donation campaigns as part of British Council's remit for accessibility and to make it more equitable. That knowledge is something that we can share with you, because it really works well. It provides a sense of community and also involves everyone in that community, whether it's a Gram Panchayat school or a village school or a school in semi-rural, urban. I think it builds a sense of community around libraries, because libraries are spaces that encourage good community practice and a sense of belonging, if you will. So that's something that we're happy to share with you as well. And I'll stop there. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Madam Janaka Pushpanathan ji from British Council, for highlighting many issues related to how an effective digital library can be there. But your key message was not only digital but physical. Both physical and digital library is very key. And also some of the issues related to collaboration, teacher training, even donation of resources for library, including quality library resources, so is key. So thank you very much, Madam, once again. We will take this discussion forward, and I request Sri Manoj Kumar ji, who is the in-charge director of InflipNet, and he is also scientist EE, to please go ahead with the presentation, because InflipNet is also providing a great service as far as the Prime Minister's eVidya program is concerned. So Manoj ji, over to you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The respected chair, Anil Sahadab, the moderator, Amarendra Behrazab, and the distinguished panelists, the galaxy of panelists we have from library science profession as well as ICT, Dr. A.P. Singh and V.P. Chakravarti Saab and other panelists, and those who are listening to me from various forums. As Honorable Prime Minister today inaugurated and put his words how to build next digital libraries for children, which is in physical and digital mode, digital. The word is very attractive in the morning, digital library. So I'll just go to my presentation straightly as time is short. Can I use my presentation?
Yes, Manoj ji, please go ahead. You can share on your own. Yeah.
Can you see it now?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
okay.
it is visible. Please go ahead.
Thank you. And as PP Saab, Chakravarti Saab already told what should be the next libraries for children, we visualized it with a picture like it should be AI ML enabled National Digital Library for Children and Adolescents with augmented reality and AR. VR. As an InfluNet center, we are in the higher education sector, being part of the UGC as an inter-university center of UGC, University Grant Commission. We are our stakeholders are generally higher education students and research scholars. So the summary will be like we will just tell that the successful project we are running and based on that existing infrastructure, how to outreach to the other student community, which is in teenagers and up to K-12 level. And what should be the way forward from the experience of InfluNet in dealing with the digital libraries? That will be my snapshot of the presentations. And we are pioneering on this area with our technology-enabled services. We provide the electronic journals and under the consortium or e-consortium, which is going to be one nation, one subscription to everybody. That is what is the envisaged vision of that area. So some of the material which students are looking, and students find the content in two forms. One we understand in the manner of knowledge, and another is entertainment content. So education and entertainment content has to be part of this library. So far we are dealing with the electronic journals and other video galleries, PhD theses. So all this we are pioneering and we are executing it. And we also have this software which automate libraries and their catalog becomes in a national catalog in the Indian catalog. Yesterday I was just doing a search on Indian catalog for students. We got about 50,000 books which are written on either children or related to children. So this kind of material or content will be there already existing, which is to be aggregated in a national portal. So we have in the e-content platform for open educational resources, and Swayamprabha, which you already mentioned here, Vidya Mitra, which has a 4-quadrant video, text and assessment kind of material. All these are academic content which is doing, but we can host it either as an open platform where you can see open access Shodhganga, which almost holding a repository of theses to the tune of 4.4 lakhs now, PhD thesis. This may not be directly related to students, but there are theses written on children and their behavior, etc. Which also yesterday when I was saying about 28,000 theses are similar kind of net and Shodhganga. This is where we have gained the experience, expertise as an organization. Now we have already been reaching to 1,000 plus higher education institutions, which include CFTI, centrally funded universities, state funded universities, 12B colleges where Enlist is provided, and the IT services offering to UGC, Ministry of Education and other ministries, including some of the universities at the starting level. And way forward, what should be the AI-enabled National Digital Library for Children? The resources has to be identified first. That are two kinds of education which can support the school education and also entertainment and e-content creation. And this has to be created in a common searchable form, like he was mentioning, AI-based or whatever that. When it is searched, this would be available for students in various forms, not only text or video or audio, whatever is even animations. Students will be liking comic. We have a next presentation coming on that, education, movie, web series, all these will be there. So the library with children at their age looking for the mix of all the content, hybrid content. So e-content creation, common metadata creation for all these resources, we have the expertise in InfluNet. So that is where we are looking forward to associated with this project. And as mentioned in the inaugural speech, there are 10 lakh schools where 5,000 schools are having library space, and where we need to collect that regional language content, etc. The AI has improved such a way that even an image with local text can be converted into the respective text and audios now. So that is where AI has grown, and we have to take part of it. and put it into a single platform. So in the last, if you look at it, additional channel based on regional languages, derive one OER platform for this children's library, comic web series, type up with the private players for Indian content, wherever content is created, that should be integrated. And this is what a sample, which we have already running this Vidyamitra for the videos and text. You can see different category of user, undergraduate student, postgraduate and others. This was our mandate is up to this level. But when you go down to school, now school also different various age group, various interested group, they will be provided with the text, animation, e-tutorial, which you can hear. This is already part of this Vidyamitra, and a similar kind of model can go in a better way with the AI-enabled search. So this is what I just want to mention as and this. The way forward for digital library is identification of the content. The content creation may not be our job, but wherever the content is created, one of the example is there are almost 12 channels which is running for children. My colleague Dr. Abhishek is also there in the panel. So we have the channel details. Once it is aired, and if the time children are not watching, they don't get it as a backup of it. So we need to have the support of backend databases to store it and archive it and give it back to this. So this is what from my side. I think somebody is sharing the screen. I will stop sharing that.
Thank you very much, Sri Manoj Kumar ji.
Thank you.
In charge director, implement under UGC, Ministry of Education, for highlighting some of the issues, especially how regional language contents could be developed and populated, and AI support could be provided to make the digital library effective for children, both school, higher education and adults. Thank you very much. And we have the last panelist before we go to the other participating members, invitees for their intervention, observations and comments. So I request Madam Silpi Mathur, who is the Vice President in Amar Chitrakatha. All of us, we know that Amar Chitrakatha, when we talk about the Indian culture and the resources, digital resources related to culture, and even the Indian epics. So a large number of resources have been developed by Amar Chitrakatha team. So over to Madam Silpi Mathur ji. Madam Silpi ji.
Thank you so much for the...
Yeah, please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Namaste, sir. Thank you so much for the introduction. And yes, Amar Chitrakatha is a part of every child's life till date, and we want in the future also that children should be connected with us at various point in time and in various forms. So my fellow panelists have spoken about very pointed issues that we face as content creator. So one is definitely piracy. Piracy is something that Amar Chitrakatha has been facing for so the biggest that how to create readers. So setting up of library is one thing, and then consumption of books is another thing. So we at Amar Chitrakatha, we have been set to create readers. We see kids who want to go and pick up the books without a teacher and a parent intervention, which we've been doing very successfully. So we don't want anyone to push the content. We want them to pick up the content. Hence, the books have been curated in such a way that everybody loves to read Amar Chitrakatha. And our second publication, that's Tinkle, which is also in the 47th year this year. So we have successfully launched our app, which we launched during pandemic. We gave free access, but not the access was not, it was not a thought through marketing tactic, but it was just that kids were cooped up in the house, and what is the best way to get over the boredom of lockdown. When it was 16th of March, I remember we launched this and we got an overwhelming response.
Can you actually, madam, your video is freezing. Maybe the bandwidth issue. So can you stop the video? Maybe your audio could be clear. Yeah.
No, her microphone has got switched off.
Okay.
Please switch on the microphone.
Yes, sir.
Please switch on the microphone.
Yes, sir.
And
So
your
we have.
bandwidth
So I
seems
was
to be
saying that we
less.
have done successfully a mammoth task of creating 500, digitizing 500 titles, which we have created over 55 years now, and we also release a book every week. So every week we are getting new content to our readers, and we've been working with various ministries as far as digital libraries, Samagra Siksha. So somebody spoke about digital subscriptions, right? So we have been doing a digital subscription, which is digital plus physical books for the schools also, for the libraries also, and we look forward how we can be the part of this mission and what we can do together. So currently we are having over 500 titles on our Amachitra Katha app and a similar number on Tinkle app, which and again on both the apps we are launching, and we are putting up new titles every week. Also, the belly of the market lies in the regional titles, right? In the regional language. So we have converted almost 50% of our catalog, which we are planning to. That's our mission for this year. That we are going to convert everything into regional title as well as English. So we are one of the few publishers who will have both the languages, get exposure to both English and the regional language. When we talk about regional, we are already present in Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Bengali, Gujarati, Assamese, Hindi, Urdu. We have tried where we have to actually flip the panels, but we've been successfully cracked that model. Kannada, we have done something called Roman Bhojpuri, which is in English but written in Bhojpuri. So, the words are written in English, but it's in Bhojpuri. We have done Marathi, Punjabi, Sanskrit. So these are the languages which we have already created our content, and this is available for both physical and digital libraries. So that's about it from our side. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Madam Shilpi Mathurji, Vice President Amar Chitrakatha, for highlighting some of the work of Amar Chitrakatha, about 500 resources, and also which are available in different Indian languages, which could further provide support for the National Digital Library. And also thanks for highlighting the privacy policy, particularly copyright issues, how we can take care of this while developing such library for the whole country for children and adolescents. So with these words, now I thank the whole panel for highlighting major issues related to the National Digital Library for children and adolescents. Now we will be going to the 16 participating members who are participating from different organizations to listen to their views, and also comments and suggestions how successfully we can implement a National Digital Library at India's scale. To start with, I will be requesting Madam Kamna Jain, who is from NASCOM, and all of us, we know that alone any organization cannot pull a national library at India's scale. We need many partners to come forward, also join together, government, corporates, NGOs, startups, individuals. So we need to join together. Madam Kamna Jain, can you hear me? So please go
Yes.
ahead. Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Dr. Behra. Can you hear me? Can the audience hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Am I audible?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, you are audible.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for giving us at SSC NASCOM this opportunity to present here, and to the audience for their time. As Dr. Behra said, my name is Kamna Jain and I work with NASCOM. If you were to ask me why I work with NASSCOM, I would say that NASSCOM shares my passion to make India the digital talent hub of the world. So let me start by telling a story. My sister-in-law was looking to buy some decorative items, and she took my 8-year-old niece along with her. So I saw a full red coffee table made of, not marble or wood, but of resin. So resin is a newer substance through which people are making art these days. So it was a new thing for my sister-in-law, but my 8-year-old niece, she knew all about it. She knew the whole process of creating resin art, and she explained it to her mother at the shop. And even the shop owner was surprised at the knowledge of the child. So where did she learn all this? She learned it all digitally, phone. The thing is, we are all aware that the more learning has changed. The Generation Z, the Gen Z that we are talking about, for whom this digital library is going to be hugely needed step. They have been surrounded their entire life by technology. So all the little children that you see around you, they know how to use mobile devices, they know how to use computers, they know how to use the internet. What is the one thing that has been missing in their life? The one thing that has been missing in their life, books. I mean, there should have been a lot more books, as it was so nice to hear Madam Shilpi from Amma Chitrakatha speak. I myself have been an avid reader when I was a kid. But as we grow up, there is a lot of technology. And with this digital library for children and adolescents, NCERT will be doing a huge service to the nation. And thank you so much to the Government of India for this initiative. And this initiative is going to provide quality books across geographies, languages, genres and levels, and device agnostic accessibility is a huge, huge step. And as a lover of books myself, I can relate to the joy and learning that it will bring to the Gen Zs. As Madam Janaka Pushpanathan mentioned earlier, my library card was the most valuable thing in my school bag. Visiting the library, borrowing and reading books was one of the most cherished experience of my school life. But today, the digital fabric has become an integral part of our lives. And whichever line of business is not tech-enabled, it's just not able to flourish. So in this regard also, the announcement of this digital library is a welcome move and deserves a huge, huge round of applause. At NASSCOM, we work with tech and we work with tech-related research. Any guesses on what is the percentage of STEM graduates who pass out and who are ready to be employed? I mean, who are ready when they pass out? It's a very small number. It's just 35%. And we are working to reduce this gap, to make our talent ready. So I think when you provide this digital library to children, they have this medium to become skilled right from the childhood, and then we can, handhold them once they reach that age where, they become young adults, and we can provide courses to them. In fact, one huge step in this direction to reduce this gap between what the children learn and what they need to learn is the National Credit Framework, which has its genesis in the National Education Policy 2020. The framework is actually an umbrella framework. It is meant to integrate academic education and skilling in India. And the National Credit Framework offers the option of accumulating, transferring credits which are accumulated. So there is an academic bank of credits where all the credits that you earn, whether vocational or whether educational, all of them get banked. And this starts from regular school. It's not something that happens when you are in your when you're in your college. So learning doesn't go waste. And to tell you a little bit about the platform that we have built at NASSCOM, the Future Skills Prime platform, we provide digital content. So there is a platform where we provide digital content in emerging technologies and professional skills. We have courses on 10 emerging technologies and 10 professional skills. We have almost 11 lakh subscribers. And it would be so great to work with NCERT as NCERT trains young children and adolescents, and then we can provide an end-to-end learning as they become young adults, and make India the digital talent hub of the world. I think we look forward to engaging with NCERT on this noble mission. I would like to end on that note. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Madam Kamna Jain ji, for bringing in the perspective from NASCOM. And all of us, we need to work together, and also bringing a new perspective from the child point of view, that the children are digital natives, and we need to collate and put together quality resources for them so that they learn, and also a cue from the NSQF framework, that how credit also could be accumulated by children even if they are reading newer resources and learning. So thank you very much. I now request Mr. Faiz Ahmed Mumtaz from Jamtara, Jharkhand, who is the Deputy Collector of Jamtara, and he has been awarded by the Honorable PM Good Governance Award. So Faiz Saab, can you hear me? Yeah. Faiz Saab, are you there? You have to unmute and go ahead. Okay, Faiz Saab will be waiting for you till you join. So let me now invite the Country Director, Room to Read, Sri Saurabh Banerjee ji, to please, because Room to Read has been working towards promoting language learning across India in collaboration with many states. Room to Read is working. So please go ahead with your presentation, sir.
Thank you, I think there's an echo. Let's stop the echo. Can you hear me clearly? Okay. So, thank you, Professor Behra, and thank you, Mr. Buddhaji. I have a small presentation. Is it possible to share that?
Yes, definitely. Yes, definitely. Please go ahead.
Okay. Is it visible?
No, you have to say. Now it is visible. Please go ahead.
Okay.
Yes,
I think
sir.
I'll go ahead.
Yeah.
So basically, is it visible, sir?
Yes, it is clearly visible. Please go ahead.
Yes. Okay. So basically, we're talking about a library, right? A library is a room to read for us, and this is typically how a village school in a remote area, a library would look like. It's like in its best form, where you have a lot of books, you'll have some paintings. You'll actually want to get the child attracted to the library so that they pick up the habit of reading, as we call it. We all know that if you have a habit of reading, that sets you up for a future generation of learning. And many speakers ahead of me has spoken about the need for good content in a library. And we all know that in spite of our best efforts, digital library is probably not available, or digital devices are not available to a large portion of our country's children. About 90% of the kids are either in rural areas or even in urban areas do not have access to technology. So just I want to kind of reiterate the fact that a physical library is also going to be very important along with the effort towards digital library. And we all agree that digitization is the way forward. So we definitely have to move towards digitization. But again, just a hook for a physical library. So whether we talk about a physical library or a digital library, I think that the challenges are common, and we have seen that. One is first to decide what goes into the library. What is it that you have which would let get people to use that library? And secondly is therefore how do you increase the usage of the library? So these are the two things which we always struggle with, whether it's a digital form of library or even in the physical form of library. Because, and we have seen various efforts around digital library. We have even seen efforts towards digital content under the Diksha and all. Because, the idea or the objective here is not to just create a repository. Because if you create a huge repository, nobody finds anything in that. So how do you really catalog, how do you really structure a library so that is easily accessible to children is going to be a big challenge, both in the physical as well as in the digital form. The first form is what goes into it. So like in a typical room-to-read library, these are the kind of books that you have. I mean, the whole idea is that you have to have books which is varied, which is all kinds of books that would attract children of all types. Not every child is attracted to a certain kind of book. Some children like fiction, some children like non-fiction, some children like to know about the world. We as Room to Read call that books are supposed to be the mirrors and the windows. So mirrors because it mirrors yourself, your context, your culture. Windows because it helps you to see the world outside. So I think it's very important that whatever goes into the library is properly curated through a very expert committee which goes into and looks into the library. The second thing, of course, digital library does allow the opportunity to, do a lot of things. I'll just spare a moment to talk about the digital library that Room to Read hosts. And I just go into the specifics of that digital library and why it has become very popular. This is a library which we call the Literacy Cloud, and this has books from across 18 countries of the world. Now, why it's become popular is it's not just the books that are there, but it's also how it's structured. One is very attractive, so anybody who goes there sees a lot of photographs, pictures, the children's stories and stuff like that. It has various sections. It has a section of books where anyone can go and access a book. And the books are very high quality, high published with high publication value. All books are sorted by level, by genre, by difficulty levels. So for any person, it's easier to go and find a book according to my digital level, language, my all of those things are there. The other criteria or the other thing here is that these books are available both online and offline. So you can download a book when you are online, but you can read the book later when you are offline. I think that's a very key feature for any digital library because, as I said, a lot of the times in rural, remote areas, you do not have network connectivity. So you cannot create something which only works when the internet is there. So you'll have to create an offline version of that thing. The other thing that our library also holds is a lot of videos. So read aloud videos where stories are read out by various people. So, that also gets children hooked on into storytelling. Because storytelling, everybody likes storytelling. So even if there are books which are read out, so small videos of how you read out a book is very lucrative for children to kind of, start using the library. There are also professional development videos. So there are videos for teachers on how to read out a book to a child. There are videos for authors and illustrators on how to write a good book. So all of these kind of resources makes the library much more impactful and much more easy to use. And then therefore, there are other resources like how to translate good books, how there are a section where and there's world literature translated into Indian languages. So all kinds of resources. And I think that's very important when you think of a digital library. You need to figure out what is it that you are going to kind of, put into the library, which will make it very, easy to use. And also children and adults and everybody would like to use that. And I think that's largely what I had. I will stop sharing here.
Thank you. Yeah.
To stop sharing.
Thank you very much, Saurabh Banerjee ji, for highlighting some of the work of Room to Read and also suggesting that how we should provide the library resources online and offline both, so that the rural, remote, hilly, desert area children, their needs are catered to in a way. Thank you very much. And with these words, I think now Sri Faiz Ahmed ji, who is from Jamtara, Jharkhand district collector. So I request him to please go ahead, sir. Please unmute yourself and speak.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah, good afternoon. Please go ahead. You are visible and audible.
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So I would basically want to talk about what we did in Jamtara. So I have a small presentation which we had made a long time back. I'll just try to share it. No, I think. Okay, never mind.
I'll request the technical
so basically,
team.
At the end of 2020,
I'll request the technical team if can be permitted to show the PPT. Yeah.
Necessary permissions are already given.
Can you reshare?
Okay, never mind. I'll just talk.
Yeah. Okay, please go ahead.
So basically, see, Jamtara is a rural backward district. So when I was posted here first, and in field visit, then we realized that a lot of girls were just dropping out, and they were studying only till there were schools in their panchayat. Basically, they're not traveling far away because mostly in minority and tribal belts. So basically the idea and concept was to tackle and address that issue. So what we did at the end of 2020, we have built libraries in all panchayats, very beautiful libraries, and with very little fund. Basically all the dilapidated, abandoned government buildings which were lying vacant in the panchayat, and it was of no use. So we used convergence of different sources like panchayat fund, CSR, and public participation, and we have built libraries in all the panchayats of Jamtara, and all these libraries are geotagged, and the name of the librarian and the photographs of these libraries, they're all on the website also, so it's there for everyone to see. And after some panelists had talked about it, after building the library, it was not just like build the structure and provide them books. So other than that, we have provided them about 300 plus standard competitive books and NCRTs and books, self-help books, to all 118 libraries. And then we asked teachers from the panchayat, senior teachers, to voluntarily adopt one library each, so that they can help the students who come there. And every Sunday, one police officer from that local thana is deputed in each library to go and teach and help the children, guide them. And Wednesday, a civil administration officer, maybe Panchayat Sachiv or JE or people like that, who are willing, they are deputed there. So we are holding 2 classes every week in these libraries for last 2 years. And we have already conducted more than 25,000 guidance classes in these libraries. And these libraries have, I don't know if I could just show you the presentation, very nice, beautiful libraries with very little fund. Actually, we did not have much fund. So we used the existing dilapidated structures which the departments had abandoned. And
you have the permission to show your slides. So if you once again try.
No, I'm sorry. I think the problem is with the system here. Actually, I'm on leave and I'm somewhere else. So I've just connected with the with my laptop here.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead.
So, anyways, I'll.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, I can hear my own echo actually. So So basically 2.5 years back, we built libraries in all the panchayats through convergence of available funds and resources, whichever we could get. Like panchayat 15th Finance Commission funds were used to repair. CSR was used to provide furniture, table, chair, and almiras and all. And then we asked the banks, we asked the local MLAs and the government officials to donate for the books. So a standard list of 300 plus books were given to each of the 118 libraries, and all this, and one bank account was opened for each of these libraries, so that anyone who wants to donate to the library, they can directly donate. And this is all pro bono. Basically, the librarian is a volunteer from the panchayat. So we gathered a team of 8 or 10 youths who would be willing to run it, and we called it the Management and Maintenance Committee. And from among those youths, there is a volunteer who is the librarian. The name and the phone number of the librarian is also on the website of this library, so that people can contact them in case it's not open or something like that. So these librarians hold the key. And then what we did, we made the Mukhya, which is the Sarpanch in other states. Mukhya basically is the mentor of the library, so that he or she also feels some kind of ownership in it, and because a lot of funds are with them, so they can further provide. And then we did a lot of IEC, because this is a backward rural belt, so to get the children to the library itself is another task. It's not only just having the libraries, but making it useful also. So the whole idea of keeping nodal teachers and government officials and police officials every week going and sitting there, basically initially I would just tell them, if you don't want to teach, you just go and sit there, read your newspaper or whatever. Basically the idea is just open it and sit there so that others also come. And that was our initial plan. But then it picked up, and a lot of students really came into it. And as of now, the whole culture in Jamtara, in the rural belt, has literally changed. Even the parents are, sending their kids there. Instead of wailing away your time and wasting your time in the fields or here and there, why don't you just go and sit there? So basically do your work. And now currently out of the 118 panchayat libraries, we have identified 22 best performing ones. So we are making them smart libraries. So we are giving them audio visuals, units and TVs, and also that they can, have those classes which is available on YouTube, all this Khansar and whatever they do here. Yeah. So that is it. And another thing which I'm just forgetting. Yeah. So basically, and every year, like it's been 2.5 years now. So every Republic Day and Independence Day, just before that, we hold inter-library competition basically. So just like in our time, we would have inter-village cricket competition. So like that, we have inter-library competition, so that the whole panchayat feels like they have some kind of ownership or say in the library. So we hold debate competitions, we hold quiz competitions, and we hold essay writing competitions. And then on the district event on the Independence Day and Republic Day, we hand out certificates and the medals and trophies to the winners also, so that in the whole our culture is there, and once it is not dependent on the administration to make it functional and run, and they take ownership. So that's what I keep telling these people, that just like you can keep your mosques and temples so clean and so well without any kind of help from the government, you should actually take ownership of this. Only then can it be sustainable and work. So I think that is more or less it is. I'm missing maybe some points which I wanted to say, and the presentation I will share to the admin.
Yeah, thank you very much, Faiz Saab, for highlighting many issues, particularly the community and panchayat participation in the library popularization movement and strengthening library movement, and also involving CSR into this particular movement, and as well as competitions among libraries, which is again a good thing. So how best we can support children to promote reading habit, and also the cleanliness part, that how libraries could be the place cleanest place on earth and serve the purpose. Thank you very much. we have 10 more speakers who are left. We have virtually 30 minutes. And I request if the speakers could restrict to 2 minutes, so it will be better. And also if we can avoid PPTs, because PPTs will again stagger us. So I request all of you to please manage the time accordingly. With these words, I request Himanshu Giriji, who is CEO of Pratham Books. So Himanshu ji, please go ahead. And Pratham has developed a lot of popular literature for children and populating it among the stakeholders for promoting reading. Himanshu ji, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
And go ahead.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes. Yes, loud and clear.
Audible. All right. Thank you so much for giving the opportunity. And I just want to echo what Honorable Prime Minister said and everyone on the panel said, that this is the need of the hour. And I think pandemic has really taught us that it is not an either or situation. So whether it is digital or physical, I think both have to go hand in hand, and we have to find more blended models. So I just want to share very quickly about, the broader statistics of India, which we all are aware in some way or the other, that about 50% of the children in grades 5 cannot read a grade 2 text. 40% of the global population doesn't read or have access to good quality children's literature in their mother tongue. And access is one of the biggest things we are all talking about to create, and especially for the children, the young going adults. At Pratham Books, how we are trying to manage and address these gaps is through publishing, storybooks for children up to the ages 15 at very, very affordable prices, and especially in multiple Indian languages. The second thing which we are trying and we are addressing through the storybooks is, and I think some of the panelists mentioned, that to expand the horizon, whether it is the social emotional learning, climate change, environment, non-fiction, we're trying to address all these gaps. In fact, we have a wonderful series around STEM and climate change. So I think our aim since past 2 decades has always been to produce very high quality books in child's own mother tongue. And to that effect, we've produced about books in 26 Indian languages and in print, and we work in about 330 languages of the world in digital. We have a unique crowdfunding space where people can go and ask for a free library using a crowdfunding model without having to invest. We've created one of the world's largest open source repository, and I think I did hear about people mentioning on the copyright. So happy to share that Pratham Books is a copyleft model, which makes books available to not only India, but about 190 countries in the world. And we have close to about 50,000 titles, which are available in 330 languages through our platform called Story Weaver. This platform not only allows you to read, but also allows you to download. And I did hear that there was a mention that we should make books available in the offline mode. So yes, the platform is enabled. The platform is also listed as one of the digital public goods, platforms in the world, and is recognized by UNESCO and USAID and World Bank as well. So having said that, we've experimented a lot of things in the country's various parts, whether these are aspirational districts or the state level programs. And I completely agree that the kind of diverse country we are, we need more and more curated, age appropriate, level appropriate, reading ability appropriate content. And we are committed to doing this. We've been partnering with various government bodies and state level authorities to this effect. And we have the privilege of working with India's best authors and illustrators in multiple Indian languages who really help us bring to the place where we are. I think in the morning, Sanjay ji also mentioned about the the panchayat libraries in Karnataka being set up, and Pratham Books was very much instrumental in helping the rural development Panchayati Raj to help these set up these reading corners. And now we are in the process of putting about 1,400 gram panchayats with digital resources and libraries for children. With that, I just want to conclude by saying that, we've also launched reading programs in various ways. But one of the things which we have launched, which is a unique initiative to keep children engaged, continuously engaged in different ways and manners, we have launched India's first toll-free line for children to listen to free stories. It's called Missed Call Do Kahani Suno. So, which is again when children are at school or they are at home, and I did hear some of our panelists mention that the optimal use of digital devices through children, and we know that children need newness every day in their reading, habits if we were to develop them. So we've tried every possible angle through an outreach at Pratham Books, and we'll be more than happy to participate in the National Digital Library movement. We are also part of the Global Digital Library anyways, and we look forward to joining hands with government and taking it forward through physical and digital books through whatever we have our expertise on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Himanshu ji, for highlighting the Pratham Books work, and also highlighting some of the very crucial strategies which will help us to popularize library, whether digital or physical. With these words, I now invite Sri Biswajit Ghosh, who is CEO of Rotary India. So, Mr. Biswajit Ghosh, please go ahead. Rotary is involved in many literacy campaign and also popularizing resources among stakeholders through Rotarians. So, Biswajit da, are you there? Please unmute and go ahead. Okay. Biswajit ji, are you there? Otherwise, I will request Sri Piyush Kumar ji, CEO of Prabhat Prakashan, to please go ahead. Piyush ji, are you there? Piyush ji, can you hear me? Yeah. I think Piyush ji and Biswajit, they are unable to unmute themselves. We will get back to them. Can I now request Nagarjuna Piti ji, is principal research scientist in Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Nagarjuna ji.
Good afternoon, sir, and
please go ahead.
And efficient, excellent professionals who are presenting in this conference and webinar. I would like to express my views about the digital library. And I am well remembered our the Prime President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, inaugural speech in the International Digital Library Conference. There was a strong optimistic feeling about the potential digital library in their ability to springboard India towards an information economy. He suggested by large participant community at the conference that constituted national policy that would be enable smoother and successful transition from traditional to digital libraries was the needed of the hour. And as per his vision, the policy now come to the true implementation by the Prime Minister Modi ji. I think policies which maybe include legal issues, biographical control, infrastructure, collection, development, preservation and dissemination, and capacity building funding, and the present partnership and collaboration. Now, when we see the libraries are changing super fast from physical library to digital library. Some of the digital library areas such as digital library, interactive digital library, and digital classrooms, digital twin laboratories, and tutoring via assessments and artificial intelligence adoption. Now, the artificial intelligence is changing the entire world scenario from one to another. By adopting this digital library, the children and adult students use facilities for the digital school libraries at Gram Panchayat and ward levels at villages. By using it in 24/7 at their own time and extra time apart from the school, they will come out with a lot of highly talented of their own fields. They will select and they will become more potential knowledge in the future endeavors. That we will see by implementing these digital libraries. When I have after seeing all this scenario of the entire speakers, I would like to postulate 6 ideas to implement and manage the digital library schools in various format, like multi-format, resource accessibility out of our accessing, do not eliminate the traditional library print materials, and content recommendations and appealing contents. As we can see, digital libraries have the potential to have a powerful way to assist students to find and educational text and use of educational text. However, implementing and maintaining the digital libraries can have its own challenges. So that own challenges we can overcome what I expressed 6 ideas to implement the main digital libraries. So when we come to the Karnataka state, of course, some technical issues also I have to discuss here before coming to the Karnataka state implementation. Technical issues, we will find a lot of technical issues because of our country is a multilingual languages. So to overcome all these things, metadata standards and protocols, we have to strictly follow and maintain it. And software issues also there. That software issues also we have to come across. Then only we will come up with these all problems successfully. And the third one technical issue is digital rights management. Digital right management is one of the very essential thing we have to see. I can tell all these things because of lack of the time. It is not possible to postulate all my knowledge which I have in these areas. Now I would like to come to the Karnataka state government is allotted budget, good budget, and it was implemented various schools. The bridge the digital divide and government schools of the state of the Karnataka government has joined hands with the Samsung and R&D Institute Bangalore and to create a digital libraries. Through this initiative, which will be implemented more than 100 schools, students will provide 2,000 Samsung Galaxy tabs and laptops and provided the educational content training also. In the first phase of the initiating the state government of Karnataka, around 50 government schools adopted in the districts of Tumkur and Ramnagar will be targeted. As many people are benefited, through which around approximately 25,000 students already benefited across the Karnataka. This with this thing, I will be conclude that in future, complete digital library will be very useful for young minds, and our country will be there in hands, so such that they can be build very good nation in future. Thank you very much for providing this an opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you, Nagarjuna ji, for highlighting particularly the metadata standards and appealing content and also the software issues which we have, so how it can be addressed, and the digital rights management, which is also very key, and the Karnataka case study also. Thanks for sharing the Karnataka case study. I, with these words, once again thank Nagarjuna Pitiji from IISc Bangalore. Now I request Madam Pramila Manoharan ji, who is representing UNICEF, so to please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Hope I'm audible.
Pramila ji, please go ahead.
There's an echo. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Now,
Please.
Hello. Okay. So good afternoon, everybody. See, I will just take few minutes to share an example of what we did in remote areas in India. As we know, children in tea gardens, the mother tongue which they speak in school and the medium of instruction in school is entirely different. So for these children, what we did, we created storybooks thanks to the publishers and the CSOs and the academia who worked with us. We created the storybooks, digitized them as well, and involved the community people, some of the students who had already passed out class 12th, to ensure the child transition from mother tongue to L1 and an L2, which is the school language. This becomes such a successful program where we were able to completely stop school dropouts and ensure good learning outcomes in the schools. Learning from that model, we use this methodology to reach out to the most marginalized children across India and remote areas together with government as well as SCRTs. We created digital repositories with materials. One of the learning for us was when this was combined with classroom transaction. I'm sure, with all the, excellent minds among us here as well as in the country, we will come up with a wonderful material. But if it is not, my humble submission here is, if we have to implement this in our schools, our teachers have to be oriented on how to use this into the regular teaching learning processes. Unless they are prepared, this will remain as an excellent resource. Some people will use, those who are interested, but some of them may not use it. So that's why it is very important that we imbibe that into the teacher education, into our teacher education institutes, as well as bring it into practice into the regular classroom transactions, which are very, very important. This is a learning for us, which when we did it with various states in India, with remote students in remote areas, either it was school on wheels or whether providing digital access to children who had digital divide. So it is very, very, my humble submission here would be to ensure usage of library in schools, connecting it with school syllabi, embedding it with teacher education and teacher training, so that teacher uses it for teaching and students are encouraged to use it for the regular classroom transaction. And especially when it comes to upper primary schools, it have to be combined with skills on constructive pedagogy to ensure the skill learning also happens along with academics. That's my submission. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pramila ji. Thank you very much for highlighting such issues and also again reiterating the community involvement and bringing L1 and L2 into the fold and continuous capacity building of teachers for successful use cases. I know Piyush Kumar ji, CEO Prabhat Prakashan, is already there. I request the technical team if he can be unmuted, given the right to speak. And also before that, I would request if we have Navodaya Vidyalaya and Kendriya Vidyalaya representatives also. So Madam Mrs. Anuradha, Deputy Commissioner, Academic Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti is also there. So Madam, I have a submission. If you can give suggestions on implementations for successful implementations will be better. Anuradha ji. So after that we'll go to Piyush Kumar ji. Anuradha ji, can you hear? Yeah. Anuradha ji, you have to unmute yourself. Okay. Can the technical team help? Mrs. Anuradha, Deputy Commissioner, Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti. Yeah. Otherwise, we can request the Joint Commissioner, Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan, N.R. Murliji. Murliji, can you hear us? Please unmute.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, please unmute.
Honorable Chair, Co-Chair, and other panelists. In fact, we have limited experience of using the certain aspects of digital library formats based on the capabilities and resources that are available within the system. And from this experience, what we find is that
Yeah, Murliji.
Children actually benefit a lot out of interactive curated content, not just plain content as it is available in the conventional libraries, but interactive curative content. And as Secretary Saab said, and also the Professor Partho Chakrabarti said in the first presentation, we can very well draw upon the AI capabilities in creating this particular thing. The second aspect that we found out of some of the successful and efficient usage of these resources by our librarians is that they come out with theme-based and event-specific, theme-based and content-specific events. And if certain specific events also can be made part of this digital library so that it will cater to the interactive nature of the need of the young students, that also would be better. And the third thing which I would like to submit is that we have a tremendous quality and quantity of resources in multiple languages with the enhanced capabilities in translation. If these resources can be made part of the digital library.
Okay, thank you very much, Murliji. Murliji, I'll get back to you. Thank you very much. I request Piyush Kumarji, CEO Prabhat Prakasan, to please go ahead.
Yeah.
Piyushji,
thank you, Honorable
please
Chair.
pinpoint a couple of suggestions so if repetition can be avoided. Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Honorable Chair and Co-Chair and Mr. Amarendra Behra, I'm so thankful for giving this opportunity. The only submission that I have to say is that this is the best time for the country that the Honorable Prime Minister has thought about putting digital libraries and physical libraries at the panchayat and the ward level. So the overall ecosystem has to be generated where we can have involvement of all sectors of the society, whether. Am I audible?
Yes. Please go ahead. You are very much audible.
Yes. Yeah. So it's like this key. Only thing that we have to say is that protecting the IP properties of the publishers. All publishers should participate, and we should be able to generate some amount of depository from where we can part away with the e-books facilities to the panchayat and the digital libraries and the school levels without charging royalties to them. So there can be an ecosystem where we do not charge royalties. This is one thing. Second thing is the CSR activities can be rolled on where CSR funding can be done for procurement of books and the digital rights at the panchayat level and the ground level. And similarly, we have to also think about the audiobooks. Audiobooks are getting very popular now. So even audiobooks with the multimedia also, and our internet speed is getting better and better every day. So there should not be any problem in the coming days that this whatever vision our Honorable Prime Minister has and the Ministry of Education has. So we should be able to find a good way, and we should be able to participate at the maximize and the best manner. This is what I have to say on this.
Thank you very much, Piyushji. I request Dr. Kishore Satpathy. He is Chief Librarian from Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata. Kishoreji, pinpointedly 2 suggestions for successful implementation, if you can give. Please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, loud and clear.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Professor Behra, and thank you, Professor Sahasrabuddhe, please giving this opportunity to be a part of such gathering. A lot of things has been said from a librarian perspective. I can divide things into various segments. One is content, that is curating the good, right, creative and interactive content, looking into the copyright issues. Then space is very important, finding innovative and attractive and new way to engage within the online space, online platform. Then use of artificial intelligence for enhancing the learning and browsing experience. Of course, collaboration will be another point where we can work with the stakeholder, with the community for incorporating right content. Then a democratization of library services will be one of the important aspects where we should aim at reaching at the last student in the remote village of the country. And for that purpose, we can develop a scheme like NCC, NSS kind of scheme that is called Library Volunteer Program. Similar kind of program we experimented with National Institute of Technology, Silchar, which was a huge success. And looking into the content which are for the underprivileged student and for the physically disabled students. Like I can give an example, our own soft computing center in collaboration with ISLRTC New Delhi, developing Indian Sign Language of Sahaj Path. That is a Bengali language learning book written by Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. This kind of material can also be a part of this National Digital Library system.
Thank
and
you.
last, this National Digital Library for Children and Adolescents should also be supported by physical library.
Kisorji will get back to you. So we have Professor Sailendra Mohan, he is Director, Central Institute of Indian Languages. Because while language resources are concerned, we require a lot of inputs from CIIL. Sir, can you suggest a couple of things for successful implementation of the National Digital Library? Professor Sailendra ji.
Yeah, namaskar sir. Namaskar Behra ji. I'll be talking about one of the important Government of India initiative at Central Institute of Indian Languages, that is called Bharatvani. It is an digital type of a library and online portal which records things in multimedia format, that is text, video, as well as it has a mobile application. And in that, we have Bhasha Kosha language learning materials that is already available, Gyan Kosha encyclopedic materials, textbooks, multimedia, glossaries and dictionaries which are available for at least for Bhasha Kosha, we have around 100 Indian languages. Gyan Kosha is available in 82 Indian languages. Textbooks in 40 Indian languages, which are already available on both the portal as well as in the mobile applications. You can search even dictionaries, another thing, at our Android-based mobile applications in which searchable dictionaries are available with some of the areas which are covered inside these systems are of wide range: botany, civil engineering, agriculture, microbiology, literary terminologies and others. And in the mobile, these 9 transliteration systems are, so the dictionaries which are available in digital format can be transliterated in 9 scripts that are available with the Bharatvani portal. So I just wanted to inform that as a digital library, Central Institute of Indian Languages is working with the Bharatvani, and which has produced a number of things for more than 100 Indian languages. Right now the dictionaries which are searchable, you can find it 208 Indian languages. Some of the future ones are that we will be providing some 500 unique digital dictionaries, Gyan Koshas, hosting language learning materials and others. Thank you very much, sir. This is
Okay,
what the
thank
information
you.
about something.
Thank you very much, Professor Sailendra ji, for being precise. We have 2-3 institutes there remaining, NIOS, NCERT, and also one more institute. I will request Professor Anup Rajput, because NCERT has been publishing a large number of titles, including 300 plus textbooks and hundreds of generic reading material. Professor Rajput, can you pinpointedly suggest us 2 things for successful implementation of National Digital Library? Professor Rajput. Professor Rajput, can you hear us? Yeah, please go ahead. We have Naveen Bhatia ji from NIOS. Naveen ji, National Institute of Open Schooling is working tirelessly for the children who are out of school and having a large number of resources for out of school children. I think perhaps it is one of the largest out of school organization addressing the concerns of out of school children. Naveen ji. Naveen Bhatia ji. We have also Professor Josna Tiwari. She heads our Department of Gender Studies, and children with special needs and gender. This issue we could not address. So Professor Josna ji, would you like to suggest? Yeah.
सर बस मैं बहुत कम समय में 2 बातें कहना चाहूंगी कि किताबों की तो बहुत सारी बात हुई. We have talked about the books and the reading material, but also it should be very rich visually, all these libraries in the digital format, so that we have so many repositories of Ministry of Culture which could be roped into this, so that our heritage is also, all the archaeological sites and his places of archaeological and historical importance can also be given space there. And if there is a networking of all the institutions like IGNCA, CCRT and ASI, so we will have a very much culturally rich, visually rich library, and which I think is desired. The rest of the things have already been spoken, but we can of course work towards this from NCERT's side if required, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Anuradha, thank you very much, Professor Josna ji. Are there Madam Anuradha ji from Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti?
Yes.
Please, Madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
1 or 2 suggestions.
Sir, greeting to all. I'll take 2 minutes. Actually, most of the points have been covered by everyone. 2 points is, one is regarding the availability of network in the neighborhood areas of the villages. That is, we are finding it with our own students' places. So the good availability of the network should be there. Second is the publicity through the panchayat for the people, stakeholders in and around the villages or panchayat area, because we do it at one part of it, publicity and creating awareness among the stakeholders for usage of the digital library. If it is done in a little faster phase, I think the people will be eagerly waiting for joining and using the digital library, sir.
Thank you very much, Anuradha ji, for being precise. Still, Biswajit Ghosda from Rotary, are you there? And Professor Rajput, we have 2 people left.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Biswajit da.
Yes, sir. I can go next.
Yeah. So please be precise.
So thank you, Vera ji. I'll be in my 2 minutes. What can Rotary do to support this national mission in terms of distribution and logistics? I think that's what we would want to focus on. So as you know, we in Rotary, we have over 4,500 clubs and over 2 lakh Rotarians across India, and we have a literacy mission which focuses on education. And we have already built over 4,000 libraries in the last 5 years. So we would volunteer to support the distribution. We can build online portals to collaborate with various publishers who wants to donate.
We can work with our network of 2 lakh Rotarians to reach the libraries physically across India. So I think distribution and logistics is one crucial component which needs to be addressed. And along with NCERT, Veraji, I think we can do a wonderful job of making books available to those villages which are untapped today. If you are getting a list, we can work with you to make sure that our Rotarian force can reach those villages, particularly schools. I
thank
think
you.
Schools is the best network.
Thank you, Viswajit. I will get back to all of you. Is there Professor Rajput still there? Professor Rajput?
Yes, of course. Very good afternoon to everybody.
Yeah.
And I will like to say only one part, that we in our country want to have culture of reading once again, as we had earlier, but with digital technology has somewhere undermined this. So with this NDL, we certainly will be able to develop that culture, and for that we have to engage all parts of the society, not only the children. So we should think of almost everyone, child, parents, teachers, other community member, retired people, and so on, so that a culture is being developed in our country, and that can be done through this NDL, and all can be engaged, but publicity certainly is required, which I hope will be done, and everybody will come to know that there is something which is for everyone in this library.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Rajputji. We have just last speaker, Naveen Bhatia ji, left from NIOS. Naveen ji, are you still there? Can you take 1 minute and consolidate from the position of NIOS? Naveen Bhatia ji. Naveen ji, you have to unmute yourself. Naveen ji, are you there? Anyway, so thank you very much for all your patient hearing and waiting for your cue to speak and give your suggestion for successful implementation of the National Digital Library as part of implementation of the budget announcement and the NEP 2020 and the NETF goal and also the NDR goal, National Digital Education Architecture goal. And we have two experts who are co-chairs in this particular session. So before we formally close from ministry side, before I request Madam Archana ji, I request Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe ji, Chairperson NETF, to please give his closing remark. And also then I will be requesting Dr. Ajay Pratap Singh ji, Director General, to give his closing remarks for 2 minutes each. Then I will request Madam Archana ji to please go ahead. Professor Sahasrabudhe.
I think we have had an excellent session. It is more than about 2 hours plus 2 hours 10 minutes. We have exceeded the time limit, but we were so much engrossed that we have understood various facets of how National Digital Library for children and adolescents have to be developed. Starting from what already exists in the form of National Digital Library, how do we make it AI integrated, how do we make it communicative, how do we make it interesting, the content curation to the reach out, and also how do we create awareness. I think all facets have been covered by various speakers. More than 22 speakers having spoken on this issue. We have noted down all of those issues. I am sure in the days to come, we will start rolling out the true National Digital Library for school children, which will shape their lives. In fact, it is lifelong learning which we all talk about, which is also about shaping the personality of the students, making them future good citizens. The library has a great role, and that's why both physical and digital have their own significance. There are various good examples, best practices that we learned. All of you must try to involve whatever best practices you have learned today into your respective domains and respective places. And there is always there to learn from everyone and everyone. And therefore, with these few words, I don't want to conclude wishing you all the very best in order to create a great National Digital Library, which will be a role model for the rest of the world. Because we had Nalanda and Takshila as the great libraries of the past. Now we have to create a future library, which is a National Digital Library. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for your closing remark. I now request Dr. Ajay Pratap Singh ji, co-chair of this session, to please give your remarks, sir.
Thank you, Beraji. It was a wonderful experience to have viewpoints of almost 24 of speakers, experts, and we came to know about all aspects relating to the village libraries and the National Digital Library for Children and Adolescents. We have received wonderful remarks regarding quality of literature, AI incorporation, logistics, quality logistics inside the library system, Syllabi Connect regarding connection with Syllabi while procuring documents for the library, whether that is in print or electronic form. Then regional language connect. We also had beautiful remarks that while procuring documents, we should make ourselves aware about the regional languages, and at the same time we should try to focus on the skill developments of these children and adolescent people. I hope that we will have a very beautiful model of National Digital Library for children and adolescent people. I am also hopeful that we will be able to develop quality infrastructure in our panchayat systems, schools or community places, wherever we finalize with best possible infrastructure for providing all students to read there physically, along with the digital support system like network and so on. With these few words, I wish you all the best for having a very good and wonderful National Digital Library for Children.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for your closing remark and highlighting some of the things. I have 2-3 announcements. One is we thought that we will be having open house to interact once again, but due to paucity of time, we will be skipping that. And also I request that there is a feedback format which will be shared just now with all of you. I request you next half an hour or so, kindly send us back so that we consolidate it before presenting it with Honorable Minister at 3:30. And also you have used, many of us have used PowerPoint presentations. You have also, I request you to please mail us to Ministry, Sri Rajneesh Kumarji, Director Digital Education, or to me, Amrendra Behra, CIET, NCERT, so that we can consolidate your inputs and present it before the conclusion team group in the concluding session where Honorable Minister will be chairing. And also we have many viewers on YouTube and also DTH TV channels under Prime Minister's eVidya. Since it was live, they have also given nearly 20 suggestions and questions also have been asked. So we will be including that in this proceeding. So thank you very much for all your support. With these words, I now invite Madam Archana Sarma Avasthi ji, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Education, Government of India, to give her closing remark. Madam, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today is this post-budget webinar, which was inaugurated with the message of Honorable PM, has been a very enlightening one, especially for us policy makers who were hearing silently for this one. We didn't speak much. So the session was very thought-provoking and scintillating, and the ideas just kept coming in. We have been noting it. And Dr. Behra, as he said, he will be presenting it in the presentation at 3:30. So, and like Dr. Sahasrabuddhe said, we already crossed the limit of 2 hours, and none of us were found wanting for it. We are all still here. More than 250 people were online hearing the seminar. So now this National Digital Library, and the other thing attached is the physical library also, with one more component that access to National Digital Library has to be provided in those physical libraries. So one of the challenges is to have an internet and to have an access to those NDLs from panchayat level. So after hearing you all, I'm very enthused to take on this challenge now. And I will be in touch with most of you again to take on this. We will be forming a working group also. All you panelists and experts were very carefully chosen for the expertise that you have. So kindly feel free to communicate to us after this also. Like Dr. Behra said, Rajneesh Kumar, the director, or Dr. Behra or me, you can approach any of us and give your further suggestions. So with that, I'm very thankful to all of you to give 2 hours on a weekend for this webinar, and also to the viewers on YouTube and DTH channels who have been patiently watching this. So thank you all once again. We meet again at 3:30 p.m. The presentation for this particular session will be around 4 or 4:15 p.m. So thank you and see you again.
Thank you very much, Madam, for the closing remark. I once again thank all the panelists, including the chairperson, Secretary Education, Sri Sanjay Kumar ji, co-chairs, Professor Anil Sahasrabuddhe ji and Dr. Ajay Singh ji, and all the eminent panelists and the participating members for actively participating. Even we have also in NCERT nearly 50 people there participating, and on YouTube also several hundred people are watching. So once again, thank you very much for participating in this post-budget announcement webinar, and thanks for your valuable suggestion. It will be collated and put in the form of a presentation which will be used for successful implementation of the National Digital Education Library for children and adolescents in the country. So since it is a part of the budget announcement, it will be implemented immediately, and all your support will be required for successful implementation of this particular initiative. Once again, thanks to one and all for your patience and active participation. Namaskar to all of you.